Simon & Schuster Audio presents No Man's Nightingale, an Inspector Wexford novel by Ruth Rendell. Read by Nigel Anthony.
Chapter 1. Maxine was proud of having 3 jobs. These days more and more people had none. She had no sympathy for them, but congratulated herself on her own initiative. 2 mornings a week she cleaned for Mrs. Wexford, 2 mornings for Mrs. Crocker, afternoons for 2 other Kingsmarkham women, did gardening and cleaned cars for Mr. Wexford and Dr. Crocker, and babysat every evening where she was wanted for those young enough to need a babysitter. Cleaning she did for the women, and gardening and car-washing for the men, because she had never believed in any of that feminism or equality stuff. It was a well-known fact that men didn't notice whether a house was clean or not, and normal women weren't interested in cars or lawns. Maxine charged maximum rates for babysitting, except for her son and his partner. She took care of her granddaughter for free. As for the others, those who had kids must expect to pay for them. She had 4, and she knew. She was a good worker, reliable, punctual, and reasonably honest, and the only condition she made was payment in cash. Wexford, who after all had until recently been a policeman, demurred at that, but eventually gave in like the tax inspector up the road did. After all, at least a dozen other households would have paid almost anything to secure Maxine's services. She had one drawback. She talked. She talked, not just while she was having a break for a cup of tea, or while she was getting out, or putting the tools away, but all the time she was working, and to whoever happened to be in the room. The work got done, and very efficiently, while the words poured out on a steady monotone. That day she began on a story of how her son Jason, now manager of the Kingsmarkham Questo supermarket, had dealt with a man complaining about one of his checkout girls. The woman had apparently called him elderly, but Jason had handled it brilliantly, pacifying the man and sending him home in a supervisor's car. "Now my Jason used to be a right tearaway," Maxine went on, and not for the first time. "Not in one of them gangs, I'm not saying that, and he never got no asbos, but a bit of shoplifting. It was like it came natural to him, and out all night."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?